Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is as happy as I am, and I hope everyone is not feeling physically like I am. My own fault. Hangover is an understatement. That's what a bottle of Southern Comfort does to you, but for justified reasons. How we did it, how we pulled that off, whatever way we got there, at the end of the day, I really don't care. At Tottenham, we can finally say, for the first time in a long time, we've got a trophy that we can put in that very empty cabinet. European one as well. I've had a few people talking on a few shows going on Europa Cup. It's only a Mickey Mouse Cup, like League Cup and everything else. Cup's cup at the end of the day. And they do say beggars can't be choosers, whatever way you want to see it. Europa Cup is a good cup to win. UEFA Cup, when it was UEFA, was always good. Same as the Cup Winners' Cup on its day. We can sit there and say that has rescued our season. That has also rescued Tottenham Hotspur, in my opinion. If we did not get that yesterday, we were going to be screwed for the next 2 to even 5 years. I mean, Ange, what the hell did you do yesterday? I mean, a couple of things he did I did not expect. I expected Son to start. I thought it was good the way he did it with Richarlison. Muscle Richarlison out for as long as you can, then get Son on, and looking forward for if it would go extra time, Son would still be hopefully fit enough on the pitch for it. I think that defence we had, no inverting, always looked better with the inverted wing backs. Yeah, I can sit here and say, then why haven't we done this during the bloody season? But do you know what? For the next day or two, fuck the season. I can let that go for the next couple of days. I was that happy at the end of the game. I had to turn my back to my wife who was trying to film me. Won't deny it. Was holding back a tear or two. But I think it was the pressure off the back as well. I mean, how the fuck did Van der Ven get that off the line? I will never know. Vicario, for me, I don't think he had a great game. But we all know when it comes to a save, we all know Vicario can pull off a great save when it comes to the crunch. And he does. And he did. We won the Europa Cup. We are now in the Champions League as well. That's another easy, between, I read some places 80 million. I read other places 120 million already straight in the bank. There's no excuses now. It's just the thing is, where do we go from here? Where do we go? Are people on here happy? I'm happy. But are people on here satisfied? Do you want more? You got a taste for it now. I got a taste for it now. We all did. Should we be satisfied with what we got? Happy with what we got? Or do we now sit here and say, brilliant, love it, every minute of it? I want more. Is that being greedy? I don't think it is. We deserved what we got this season for how poor we played in the league. And we, as fans, didn't deserve that shit during the league. But we deserved that cup for the crap we have had to put up with this season from every which way, whether it be the way the teams play, whether it be the way the manager does it, whether it be the way Levy ain't done his shit, whatever. We fucking deserved that last night. More than anybody. I mean, 17th for finishing the champions. You know what? I said this about 3 months ago. I mean, I've always said Ange could win a cup. But his tactics in the league, for me, just do not work. But for a cup, he could do it. And again, 3 months ago, I said, look, don't write off this Europa. Did I see us finishing 17th? No. But wouldn't it just be the most Spursy way ever to finish in the bottom half of the table? Well, 17th that we are. Have put our worst season in God knows how long, with the worst manager stats-wise in God knows how long, breaking over 15 records for this club that we wouldn't want broken. And he ends up being the most successful manager in the past 40, 50 years at the club. And we end up actually winning something, for God's sake. With that, for me, that had Spursy written all over it. Only this club could pull this off this way. Only this club. No other club is pulling that off. Not in a million years. I mean, the pressure in the second half off of Man U, I did not like the way we shut up shop for 45 minutes. I say do that for 20 minutes. But again, it worked. He got it right. It worked. And then in the last 15 minutes, whatever it was, or 10 minutes, go with 3 at the back, totally shut up shop. We got the job done. A few players on there you could see they was playing for blood, basically. I don't care whether they was playing for their manager. I don't care if they was playing for their career or playing for us or whatever. We won the game. We got the cup. That is all I care about at the end of the day. And yeah, it feels good in the morning for once, or afternoon now, to be a Spurs supporter and to know you've got a trophy sitting on your shoulder, and a European one at that. It will put a smug smile on my face, as a few people that I phoned this morning have avoided me. They probably know who they are. But anyway, I'm going to say hello to a few people. I'm a bit slow today. It's the hangover. It's hurting. But again, self-inflicted, and it was worth it. Scott M, has he been sacked yet? Mate, just lay off for the day, will ya? Whether he does or doesn't, I really couldn't give a toss today. Leave that for the next couple of days. But big up to you, Scott. And Paul 123, yippee. Yep, happy man. And Rob Welsh, I admire your consistency, Scott, but fuck me, let the guy have his juice for a few days. I agree. When it comes down to the crunch of things, you have got to give credit where credit is due. And this man has been absolutely ripped into all season, justifiably, as far as I'm concerned. and deserves every bit of stick he got. But then when he goes and does something like this and he goes and wins a trophy, same with the players, you've got to give credit where credit is due. I know some people do struggle with that one, but credit where credit is due at the end of the day. So I'm just going to say hello to a few more and then bring on guest I've got with me. And free for all since Woolwich last won the trophy. Leicester City have won FA Cup, been relegated, got promoted and got relegated again. And Mark saying Scott and can only dream. Scott, Rob, he deserves no dues. I disagree, Scott. You've got, if you're going to grill someone, then you've got to give credit where credit is due. It works both ways. If there's a left, there's a right. If there's a up, there's a down. If there's love, there's hate. Whatever way you want to put it, it's got to do both ways. You can't just be one-sided. You have to give credit where credit is due, even if you don't want to and you feel physically sick doing it. You've got to give the fella credit for the game, for the fact we got the cup. And he wins in his second year. He did. He's done it. Be happy about it. We'll moan about the rest of it and go on about the rest of it in a couple of days. Just be happy for a couple of fucking days. And Mark saying Scott M 100%. Tony, big up, man. Hope you're good. Big up, Dan. Guests on chat. Great win. Ange out. And then Boomverse. Big up, Dan and all. Champion. Ole. Hey, come on, you Spurs. Yep. And Scott just chatting with Mark. Bring on guests here. Keep saying hello to a few yous. Yeah, Brian, how we doing, mate?
Champion is the answer to that question. Champion.
So big up to Scott. My wife saying self-inflicted. Yes, it was. And free for all, credit where credit is due. It wasn't a case of Ange ball last night. It was more like Ange wall. I can agree with that one. Brian, obviously you're on here saying you feel like the champion. Scott, we can put it into the next Audi Cup, Tiger Cup, Water Cup. Well, Scott, for fuck's sake, man, seriously. Do you know what, fella? Just go do some... Do you know what? I'll just say this blunt on here, mate. You know, I think you're a top fella and you're on the point most of the time. Go smoke a joint or do some MDMA or something, mate. Seriously. Have a happy day for once. Rob... rebounds called it. Thankfully, Brent kept his head on above the ground. Lily White, afternoon. Dan would ask how you are, but reckon I know the answer. Best night of my life last night. I could say I've had a few better, but on the football side, I'd say that is the best one. James, how we doing, fella? How people saying Ange deserves no credit is madness. You don't deserve to win anything. I totally get your point, mate. Right, what I'm just gonna do here quickly before we come to you, Brian, is if I can do this bloody correctly. I mean, I'm still seeing double flipping vision, which really don't help. And just let me do this one.
Push the button in the middle.
It does bloody help, doesn't it? Right, that one, and there you go. I've just put the link on there for if anybody wants to come on. I've pinned it at the top. Finally found out where it is. Like I say, a bit slow today. If you want to come on and just say what you want to say, that you should be a happy person. Brian, how are we after last night? I mean, you cannot tell me that game was not stressful at the end of it.
First of all, just champion. I'm saying it like a Geordie. Anyone ask any Spurs fan that question the next few days, the only response should be champion. Look, before we, I mean, the Scotland Yard was bouncing. The final 15 minutes, I felt physically sick. I was at my table. I could not speak, sing, drink my Coke, anything. But I'm going to say, listen, Dan, you've had your say on this now. Listen, you and I, amongst others, I've been very, very, very outspoken on our feeling for the manager. And I will continue to be outspoken on parts I feel that this football club need to. But people like yourself and me, Dan, have always said if we're big enough to heap criticism and what we do, then we have to be big enough to say, do you know what? And you know what? I started thinking about this after we got off Tottenham away. Big up, Michael, brother. I started looking at this yesterday, and then I've seen messages from people like James Flower, who's in the chat, saying he's just had the best moment football in life could give him with his son. I went back, my nephews, my 12-year-old, 13-year-old nephews It's the first trophy they've ever seen. Crying their eyes out with my dad. And I mean crying their eyes out. Ange did that. Yes, the team, whatever. We've been through so many managers. Better, whatever you want to say, statistically, whatever, they haven't delivered. Then you go and look. I can see Robbie is in the chat. Robbie's at the stadium with his grandpa and his father. A memory you can never, ever, ever replace. Ever replace. We are all waking up today with something we have wanted to happen for 17 years, have better squads, have better managers, and at the end of the day, whether people like Scott M want to say this cup is nothing special, that's his prerogative. Like you said, I love Scott M to bits. Love him to bits. This is monumental. Monumental in the history of this football club and having that trophy. And like it or not, Ange Postecoglou is the man that delivered it. When my nephews have kids and their kids have kids, history will state the person that ended that trophy drought was Ange Postecoglou. And today isn't about what happens with him next. It's not. What it should be about right now is, for the first time in 17 years, Spurs fans or people in their life are feeling something that they've never felt. Some people for the first time in their life, some people for the XYZ amount of time. It is a joyous day at Tottenham Hotspur. And after so many bad ones, it is time that we just sit back, relax, and enjoy. And I will say, fair play to Ange Postecoglou, because the last 3 European games, 3 clean sheets. We said he doesn't adapt. He adapted. We said we don't want this gun-ho, all-exposed football. We didn't. So you have to sit back and say, I wake up as a champion today of my football club. And I'll say again, we wake up as a champion today. And Ange Postecoglou led us there. Like it or not. Like it or not. And I am refusing to get into the should he stay, should he go, blah, blah, blah. I am going to enjoy this fucking moment because we've all wanted it, craved it, and demanded it for so long. And now it's here. I'm going to enjoy every single last bloody second of it.
No, well said. I'm totally with you on that. We all know we're already, all of us, thinking in the back of our mind of what happens next, but we'll go to that one next. Mike, how we doing, mate? I mean, looking by your eyes, you're still looking half as pissed as I am, mate. So, how
Michael,
you feeling?
before you answer, that can you're drinking, is it alcoholic?
No, man.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I would die if I injected alcohol today. Like, honestly, man. You know what? Thank God I took home office today, right? By the way, technically I'm in work, right? Technically. But thank God something in my mind told me to take home office today, right? Because I kid you not, if I went to job today and fucking looked at someone and opened my mouth, I would be immediately in the HR department, like for polluting the space and all that stuff. Guys, I got so drunk yesterday. At times, like, the hangover is going, right? It's 3 p.m. already, so I've been awake for a couple of hours, right? But I kid you not, yesterday, probably one of the happiest days of my life, right? Today, a bit of a shitty one, I'm not gonna lie, but not because of Spurs. Finally, not because of Spurs, right? Because for the longest time, being a supporter, right? Usually when I had a bad day, next day it was because we lost on the previous day, right? And right now, I can sit here, wear this scarf with pride. I can show this with pride, right? Sorry, it was upside down. I can show it with pride. I can be happy. I can share these moments with my family. I was on a video call with my brother yesterday and his friends, right? I was
I'll come back.
Just the whole day yesterday was planned around that final, right? With my fiance, we made we made food, right? We had drinks, we shared this moment, right? And I am so happy that I got to experience that, right? Because I kid you not, like I started supporting this club, I think 6 years ago. It is now 6 or 7 years ago, right? And for the longest, I was like certain that I will never get to experience that, right? For the longest, I was thinking that I'm not going to enjoy our team winning, right? That, like, I know the probability of that is low, right? But, or was low, should I say, right? But now I can sit here and confidently say we've done it. We are champions of Europe, boys. Not Champions League, fair enough, right? If somebody wants to downplay it, whatever, that's their life, right? But we are champions of Europe, right? We are no longer having the longest trophy drought in our history, right? And also, out of the big 6 clubs, Arsenal have the longest trophy drought now, by the way. So, swivel on it.
I've got one more question for you, Michael. I've got one more question for you.
Go on, right.
How much better does a trophy-winning hangover feel like compared to any other hangover?
Man, honestly, I can't like even begin to describe how I felt yesterday and how am I feeling today, right? And honestly, like I didn't really know how to behave. Like when the final whistle went, I was just like I froze for a couple seconds, right? I didn't know what to do. Right?
Did that actually just happen?
Yeah, did that actually just happen?
Did that just happen?
Yeah, like the final whistle went, and I was still like not sure whether we win, right? Whether we have won. Like the history of this club was so bad that I honestly thought that after the final whistle, they are somehow going to find a way to screw us over, right? Which thankfully didn't happen, by the way. Although, by the way, one quick comment, right? UEFA, what the fuck? Like, how did you run out of medals? Like 3 of our players didn't get medals. Like, how did you...
like only to a Spurs team, innit?
Yeah, only to a Spurs team. Like, Son
would that have happened to Inter Milan or Barcelona?
No way, mate. Like, Son finally gets to lift a trophy, and he didn't have the winner's medal on his neck. So yeah, that's just funny, man. Like, honestly, it's so much joy, and I have to also say, like, the amount of memes and the amount of like funny shit happening in the last like 20 hours, it's fucking legendary, right? Mo Salah's tweet about, he said he always wins in his second season, right? Our official account trolling Domino's Pizza, right? Like, everything that matters is posting on his Instagram and Twitter. Fucking love it, man. Like, I am enjoying today, right? Yes, I was hungover, but I bet you that from the moment I woke up, all I am doing, right, other than working, all I am doing is just having YouTube on, watching Man United fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans having an absolute fucking meltdown over the fact that we won a trophy. And I know, like, priority for me is always enjoying us and enjoying our team, right? But it's just like, I just had the best steak, right? And that watching these YouTube channels, these meltdowns is like some prime salt on top of that steak, right? This is something that just pushes the experience even more. I will shut up now, sorry, because that was a long-winded answer, mate.
I will say, Michael, I've got a problem with UEFA at the moment. You mentioned UEFA. I have got so many videos from the yard, and I kind of did like a 360, and I posted a load of them on Twitter.
And they copyrighted you. And they
UEFA copyrighted me. They literally, I go around the screen like that, and UEFA have copyrighted them. And I'm like, you absolute bastards.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's like, I'd understand if I stood there and had like the whole match like a live stream, literally just walking around the page like that. And bastards.
I mean, that it just is what it is. That's just life these days, the way people are with that. Teacher, how we doing?
How are you, gentlemen? And as you know, I'm half Japanese, half Brazilian, so I've got this South American, no manners, blood sometimes when it's about, celebrating. So We did it, gentlemen. We fucking did it. Unbelievable. Waking up and knowing that we fucking did the day before is unbelievable. The feeling, I received many messages from students, ex-students congratulating me, because not many people, support Tottenham where I live. Fuck, amazing feeling. And at the same time, I don't know if you agree, gentlemen, but Tottenham Hotspur have been one of the most surreal football clubs in history, because we have got the worst manager ever, a shit dreadful league, and we have won the cup. It's amazing, man. So fucking amazing. Amazing, yes. And being with you, thanks a lot, as always.
Not a problem, mate. Never a problem. Yeah, the hangover is worth it. I've had hangovers for total different situations that had nothing to do with football, better and for worse situations. I think we all have. But yeah, that drink was well worth it last night for the repercussions, which are self-inflicted to the most of us. So with that game, again, for me, the only frustration side of me it brings out is why couldn't we have done that in the league at several times when we needed to? I suppose time will tell with that one. But I don't think anyone even played particularly special, bar maybe one or two players. But they played as a team. They defended. They put their heart in front of the bullet, basically. And that is what you want your team to do. That is what you want your squad to do. I mean, for me, yesterday, I don't know about you three, Basuma, man of the match. Another one who I've been saying for such a long time, playing the right bloody way, we have a good player. I mean, Vicario, for me, shady as, but again, rescues us on the reflexes and that. I mean, for anyone, whoever wants to jump in and say it and that, who definitely stood out for the game for you, who didn't?
Mate,
Romero was magnificent. Romero was amazing. Argentinians in finals, and Romero is used to be in finals. Though he was fantastic. He teased Manchester United players. He provoked them. Yes, especially Maguire. Right, it was fucking amazing.
I literally, like I said, every single player out of 10 scores 100. Don't care. Van der Ven, that man with that clearance. Bissouma was just mate. I think excellent is actually not being complimentary enough to him. For someone again that I've been very critical of for subpar performances, attitudes, but he came in against he came in Europe and he has put shifts in. It don't matter where you look at it. Listen, pound for pound. Again, do you know what it was, mate? How many times have we said, Dan, play the match, not the occasion?
Mm-hmm.
And last night they played the match. They had a game plan. And I'm getting one of the things I'm getting really, really annoyed about with the media today is when Liverpool beat us in the Champions League final, we know all as Spurs fans that it was a really poor game that was swayed by that penalty. And Liverpool champions of Europe. Oh my God, Liverpool. Spurs had exactly the same game plan where it was a really poor game. Oh my God, this was such a poor final. Such a poor final. And I'm like, so wait a minute. We had to defend as a team because that's the game plan we needed to do. And then you do it, and it's not, do you know what? Job well done. It's, that's such a poor game with poor teams. And no doubt they are poor teams. There's no getting away from it. We've been poor. But yesterday, Tottenham Hotspur had to play the match, not the occasion. And every single player did their part. I won't listen. Could Solanke have scored a goal? Yes. Did he look a little bit light? Yes. Did he run his socks off and help the team get over the line? Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my favourite moments of yesterday that I only saw this morning was Pape Matar, who again was brilliant and has been really this season. But when you saw him waiting for the final whistle when he couldn't look, and he's there shaking his legs, and then the final whistle goes and he's off, mate, it's magical moments. It's magical moments, and every player, I'm not good. Whether we think they had a good game or not, whether it was a 10 out of 10 performance from it, or it was for me, whether they think they were involved in the game, it was a team performance, and every single player stood up to task.
100%. No, I agree with that. 100% the team performance, definitely. And yeah, it was shocking. I mean, it was a hard game to watch. No two ways about it. It wasn't pretty by any man's standards, for sure. But when it comes down to that crunch, do you really give a toss on whether the game's pretty or not, as long as you bloody win it? This is one thing I've been saying for a long time now. I don't give a shit about the Spurs philosophy on how we should play and we should be playing pretty. I don't care. I'd rather play, if we got to play crap football and just sit back and defend to win a game like that, then that's what you got to do. You got to adapt to the game. This is what I'm saying. I mean, Mike, on your whole thing on the game yesterday, players, go for it.
Yeah, listen, I think the whole backline was like, I don't want to say superb or anything, right? Because like we are talking like really like analytically looking at the game, right? In all honesty, did Man United create anything dangerous that they were superb in defending? Like, I just think they did a solid fucking job yesterday, right? That backline, and this was enough, and this is completely enough, right? And I am so happy that for once I could watch a backline that was just competent and doing their job, and they were 100% focused for 90 minutes and additional time, and they just did their job, right? Because that's all I wanted to see in many previous matches, right? And not only under Ange Postecoglou, by the way, under previous managers too, right? We had important games where like someone was just losing their head or just, you know, losing focus and just conceding stupid chances. Yesterday we were so solid and focused defensively. As I said, that whole back four, massive props to them. If I were to pick one player, for me, Van de Ven for that clearance, like I swear to God, that image of him, you know, in the air, just kicking the ball over the bar, it's some fucking legendary material, right? If he stays at our club and becomes a legend or something, right, this should be the statue, if he gets one, right, of him just kicking the ball like that, because that's like perfect material for a statue. But in all honesty, like as I said, back four, really solid. Vicario, he was a bit shaky in my opinion. I was getting pissed with him in the game because I
Both
felt
goalkeepers were, weren't they, Mike?
Yeah, but speaking like about our team, right? Like Vicario, I was getting angry at him for 2 or 3 chances where I think he misjudged the flight of the ball and he put us in a dangerous situation, right? But
yeah,
Vicario does what Vicario does, right? And 2 or 3 saves that he did on the night were absolutely superb, especially that Luke Shaw header, right? The fact that he got so down so quick and managed to parry the ball outside, lovely stuff, right? And midfield didn't do anything like special in terms of, you know, flicks, tricks, and outside of the boot passes. But what they did was work their ass off, right? And shut down Man United's creative outlets, right? Bruno Fernandes, pretty much the whole game was covered by one of them, right? Whenever Udogi needed help with Ahmad, one of them was there, right? They worked their ass off, and I respect them heavily for that, right? And with the forward line, same thing with Solanke, didn't do anything like special on the night, but he pressed, he ran his head off, right? Johnson, the backstick specialist, right? Like, fucking love it. Like it was so ironic that he was the one to score the goal, right? And Richarlison also like working his ass off. I think overall it wasn't a special performance. It was just solid as fuck. And this is something that I can respect, right? Because I am same as you, Dan, right? I don't need to see fucking 2-3-5, 80% possession, suffocate the opposition or whatever, right? I want to see my team do everything they can to try and win, right? If the opposition is better, fair enough, right? But this was a performance where we did everything we could, everything in our power to win the game, and we won the game. And this is something that I respect massively. And Sorry, I know it's a long-winded answer. I'm just in a talkative
fine,
mood
mate.
today. Sorry. And one last thing, right? As much as big like of a criticism I gave Big Ange for this season, and deservedly so, right? The fact that he proactively went to a back three with Danso and tasked Danso to cover Harry Maguire when he was getting up there on the, to the penalty box trying to win headers. The fact that he foresaw that and reacted before Man United even implemented the strategy, massive respect for that, right? Because that's as I said, that's him as a manager doing something to help us win the game. And I've been critical of him saying that he often did things that didn't help us win game, right? But yesterday he did, right? That change to a back three, massive props for that.
Yeah, that detail change for back three, and Maguire was in the penalty area. Our penalty area was important, absolutely, yeah. And a special mention to Richarlison, the pigeon, the pigeon who we want him now in Saudi Arabia or back to Brazil, though he played really well in the first half, most helping out the defense system. But the doggy was not so good in the first half, right?
No, in the first half, I didn't think he was great.
No, not at all. Yeah, a bit shaky as well.
In that first half, I don't really think there was much pressure on either team, if I'm going to be honest. It was that second half where the pressure turned up and they turned the pressure on, and we basically took everything they had to throw at us. First half was very here and there sort of thing for me. And I thought Adoji in the first half definitely had a dodgy first half, but definitely made up for it in the second half. I mean, I was saying take off Adoji, bring on Spence. I mean, I was thinking take off Solanke, put Son on there. So, where you're watching a game and you're sort of judging it yourself, trying to work out what would be the better ideas to do here and everything and that. And so, just for a question that came up here from Finn, can we start having a conversation about real captain material? Knowing Son, if he stays, will be squad rotated, and Romero is likely to leave. Yeah, I think he's gone anyway. For me, I'm saying Vicario or Basuma for me as captain. Son, for one of the first times yesterday, actually, I see him act like a bloody captain. I do not rate Son as captain material in any means or manner. He is not the sort of person I would personally have as a captain. But yesterday, he was getting the team together. He was being loud on the pitch when he came on. I don't think he had a great game when he came on, but he still made sure he got noticed and he was doing what a captain should do, which he usually doesn't. So on this one, with what's asked here, where do we go for captain material, really? I mean, because Romero, for me, is done and dusted. He's gone, I personally think. And so where do we go with captain then? Because I don't dig goalkeepers as captains. I don't like that one. And for me, Basuma, especially on the mentality side, is definitely not captain material. I mean,
well, the thing is, just quickly, we're talking about Romero possibly leaving. There is a shout Basuma could be leaving. So it's, I mean, the performances in Europe, but there's mutterings. But I'm with you that goalkeepers, although he's very, you and me are old school when it comes to it. We want like your Tony Adams, your John Terry, like your Roy Keanes, your
Gary Mabbott,
Gary Mabbott, whatever. There's all different types of captains, isn't it? There's people like Son, who's like an icon and a role model and how to be professional and everything. Or you've got the people that will grab you and say, listen, this is unacceptable. Vicario has got that, but I just don't like goalkeepers being captains.
Yeah, same.
We've got Madison, who could be I don't know. He misses lots of games because of injuries, but still.
Madison for me is not captain material either. For me, he's too much of a little bitch overall, basically. And that's not slating him as a player as such. That's just his. It's just the way he is. He's a bloody good player, but he's a moody little bitch at the end of the day. Very much similar mentality on that aspect to Fernandes. Basically, gets a few kicks in the legs. Obviously,
number
nobody
10
likes it.
To be that way, indeed. Don't you think
But-
so? Mostly number 10s, they have this behavior, that way of playing, the way of being.
I'll tell you who I would chuck in, because he's Spurs through and through. I love him, and I'm so happy he's ended the season on a high. I would put, if there was to be a new leadership team, whatever, I would put Pedro Porro in there immediately.
Yeah.
I absolutely, mate, that man, you can all discuss his position and whether he's defensive, whatever. But that man, when it comes to sliding tackles and celebrating them like they're bloody goals, and the passion and the charisma, and I think Porro, I would definitely have in any talk of new leadership team.
And Brian also, like the availability of Porro, like he is always available. I don't think he had an injury since he came to the club, right? So
He's had one. He's out, but they're only slight.
Yeah, he had one,
Michael,
like a slight knock or something, right? So nothing serious. So for me, like I love Pedro Porro. I'm a huge fan of Pedro Porro, and I've been defending him plenty of times on streams when people were saying we should sell him. I said that's the most ludicrous idea I have ever heard, right? But for me, by the way, quickly before I say, right, do you think that us getting Champions League changes Romero's mind? Because I always felt like that the main reason he wants to leave is to play Champions League, right? But right now we are in Champions League, so maybe he stays. Like I don't think there is a high possibility of that. But
Michael, to add to that as well,
right?
It's these type of performances in defence, like our defensive ones, have all been when he's been captain.
Yeah.
Is his leadership on the pitch getting something out of them? Obviously, Ange puts the tactics out and everything. But is there something in him leading the team out and the way they are adapting on the pitch? Who knows?
I mean, for me, I think Romero's gone anyway. I think his head left the club a while ago, and I think he wants to go elsewhere. I mean, yes, we can say he's left us winning as a captain, basically, and he did perform last night. I wouldn't say that was world class from him, but I would say it was very good. And it's one of the problems I do have with Romero and why I do not call him a world class player. But he showed up last night just like the rest of the team, and that's all that matters at the end of the day for yesterday. But over a season and things like that, I just don't think he's as good as some people say. But I don't think he's going to stay just because we're in the Champions League. I personally think he wants to go elsewhere anyway. Maybe he's pissed off with English weather. I don't know, but I just don't think he wants to be at Spurs full stop, basically. And I do think we are going to see the back of him. And for me, I don't think it's the worst thing either that's going to happen. I believe personally with the money we could get for him, I'm looking at about, if we get an offer of 40 mil, I think we should happily accept that, because he does get the injuries in. And he does, there's a lot of things that take money off his price tag, basically. So with a 40, 50 million for him, I would accept it and then go looking. I mean, Brian, what do you think?
Well, when it comes to Romero,
yeah.
Do you know what it is with Romero? Like you said, injuries is a factor. I think it's shown, and you can look at the stats, that when the back five is the back five, the win rate is ridiculous compared to when one of them come out like the jigsaw puzzle. He has now, obviously, he's got the job done. I personally thought until yesterday, he's out the door. And do you know what? Maybe with the South Americans, going to Spain is the progression they all want. They have a desire, as a psycho teacher will know, to play in, and not just Barcelona and Real Madrid, but Atletico is a massive, massive football club, continuously in the Champions League, have a squad ready for the Champions League. Is going
definitely
to
suits his style as well, doesn't it?
It suits his
Madrid
style.
suits him. And
not even that, the manager, the
the language.
The language, the Argentinian contingency that's there. It's a massive, massive pull, isn't it? Further, I mean, Psycho Teacher is going to be the best one to speak about, obviously, with his roots with South America. I think one thing we can all say is you saw how much it meant. They wanted Ange with them when they're lifting the trophy. All this press that's been coming out about the media and whatever with the players, not being behind him, or there's rumours in the camp that everyone's unhappy. I think that's been put to bed a little bit from the player side in the camp. Does Ange have to swing to stop? Is Ange in Champions League football enough to swing the other personal parts that Romero has with going to Spain? That I don't know. But should he stay or should he go? I will be eternally grateful to him because he has won a trophy for my football club. And he's he's in a group of people that we wish there were more of. We shall see. Put it this way, up until yesterday, I was 100% convinced he's off. Right now, I would not say 100%.
Youngsters in Brazil, actually, they dream of play. Excuse me. Go ahead.
That's right, mate. Go on. No, finish what you're saying. It's fine.
Youngsters in Brazil, mostly over the past years, over the past 2 decades, if you ask them, they dream of playing for Real Madrid and Barcelona, then to the national squad. It's crazy, here in Brazil. Argentina is quite the same. Both Italian and the Spanish leagues are what Argentinians and Brazilians always aim at, young ones. It's crazy. Yeah. They really love the Spanish league. The language, you know what I mean? The style of football, etc., as you said.
I mean, with what just something got to do? I mean, Jimmy Hotspur, what you're saying here, Dan, we paid 40 million for Gray, mate. Yeah, I know. That is part of the problem. And you can easily say 25% of that 40 million was just down to the fact that he's English. For some reason, you pay 25, 30% more for English players. But on the justified money side, what right have we got to sit there and say we want 70, 80 million for Romero when he's only turned up altogether, if I'm thinking just straight, for about 25% of his games, let's say 30% if we're being nice, and the amount of injuries he has, that's going to bring his price down. I just can't personally see people going out and offer 70 million for him.
Mate, Dan, what I'll say on that is what you got to remember, mate, is the amount of time he's got left on his contract. That's
isn't it?
Exactly. So that's going to hold the weight. And listen, when you say, listen, Romero on his day is elite. On his day is elite, and there is absolutely no getting away from it. He is a colossal of a defender. If Romero turns up on the day, the game's won. Or at least, you know what I mean? He is masterminded, and I will say masterminded because he's led the defense for the last 3 games, or the big games. When the games have come, and Romero's duty and job is to make sure the other team don't score. Eintracht Frankfurt, where we all went there, I was one of them going, do you know what? I think we might buckle under the pressure of the crowd. I think we might buckle because we've gone missing in Premier League games when the going gets tough. Stellar performance. Go away to Bodo. Again, 2-0 up. Everyone's saying, do you know what? Bodo always score. Again, that was me. I'll have my hands up. That was me. Again, stellar performance. Conceded a goal. Didn't concede a goal. And then in the game of games, again, myself saying, the only thing I was saying about Man U that worried me was that no matter how shit they are, they have got people that have regularly won trophies and know how to get the game over the line. And the only one we really had that knew how to get the game over the line is our World Cup winning captain. Once again, clean sheet. He didn't, mate.
Bentancur.
Bentancur as well. But
I get where you're coming from.
But you know what I mean? Compared to the amount of players Man U have got that have regularly won trophies or regularly in there, like Casemiro, never, ever, ever lost a final in Europe.
Yep.
Well, now he has. And look at his experience and look what he's done. And Romero literally was like, not today. And as much as we can say, his attitude or all the things that get labelled with him, you have to sit back and say 3 of the biggest games in Spurs' recent history. He has led the team out, 3 clean sheets, bang, bang, job done. Incredible.
Yeah. But then to be called a world-class player as well, you can't just perform when you choose to. And that's true. But why I knock him down a level. But on his day, I totally agree with you. There isn't many that are significantly better than him. That is the most annoying thing about this player. On his day, he can give you a world-class performance, but a world-class performance 1 out of every 10 games isn't good enough for me to be world-class. This is why I don't think we can get 75, 70. I mean, maybe 40 is a bit low then, yeah. Maybe it is looking at it like that. I mean, but the injuries he does get in that, I think if we get 50, 55 million off of him, we should take it, because I think there is defenders out there that we can get who might not be as good as him, but a lot more consistent than him. And over a season, having a good couple of games is one thing, but having a consistent player who gives you 8 out of 10 good games every game, I would rather have that in my team than that world-class player who gives you 2 world-class games out of every 15 games as such. But that's just personal opinion on how I would work. So, Ryan, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, Danny. Brian, how are you feeling as well, mate, after everything, after the...
The recovery's going well. I've got a hospital appointment in 2 hours to hopefully have these stents taken out of my nose and everything. And then hopefully my breathing will start regulating and everything will start, the health will start getting back to normal. So all good, brother. Thank you. I hope you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, anyway, sorry, Dan. I was just wanting to get that in to see how Brian was. Sorry. So, yeah, you was going to ask me a question.
No, basically, like on yesterday, as soon as you weren't here when we've all had our little bit about yesterday, how do you feel about yesterday? You a happy man? Silly question, I know, but have to ask.
Do you know what? It's a difficult one because people have got their own opinions on what they would class as a major European trophy. And I'm in the category of the Champions League being a major European trophy and not the Europa League. Now, I know it sounds silly because it's the first time we've won a European trophy in God knows how long. And yeah, I'm happy.
Trophy.
It's still a trophy, but I don't class it as like the biggest trophy out there compared to when you see the Champions League. Now, I'm happy that we've got back to the Champions League, but I've said this to a few people over the last couple of days that this is like, to me, this is like the Mickey Mouse version of the big trophy that we're going into next season. And I'm happy, but I just don't know how else I can kind of describe it. I wasn't overexcited or anything that we won it. But I think that's because the way that Ange has played his style of football the whole season, and I just don't know how else I can kind of put it. But I am in a good mood that we have won it. Let's not get silly there. I am happy that we have got there, though.
I mean, you say Mickey Mouse Cup. A lot of people do refer to that, the League Cup. I mean, even the FA Cup gets called a Mickey Mouse Cup these days by certain people. But to me, a cup is a cup. I mean, that is what you fight for. You can only fight to win on what you win. Like I say, I'm one of the ones who say Spurs had a fucking easy route to that final compared to what we've seen in other years and that. But at the end of the day, you can only play against who you're playing against, and you can only win against who you're playing against, and you can only win in the competitions that you are in. And we were favourites to win that competition, and we actually went and bloody won it for a change. So whether people want to call it a Mickey Mouse Cup or not, at the end of the day, just remember this, Ryan, yeah? You are only a Spurs fan. Nothing more, nothing less. What right do any of us really have to sit here and be picky of what we win?
Now, that's a very
Whether
good,
it's the Champions League, whether it's the Europa Cup. Obviously, we win the Champions League. Anyone wants to win the fucking Champions League or League, yeah? But at the end of the day, remember this, yeah? Beggars can't be choosers. And the Europa Cup is still a significant cup to win because it gets us into the Champions League. And altogether, with it getting us in the Champions League and everything else, has given us an extra, between 80 and 120 million pounds to spend and everything. Do you really look on that as a Mickey Mouse Cup? I can't say I do. And it's not just because Spurs just won it. Even the Arsenal fans have got the ump with it because they haven't ever won it. So I mean, think you're being a bit harsh.
Do you know what? When you put it like that, it kind of makes sense because I was speaking to a mate who's a West Ham fan, and I've said to him, especially yesterday, I said, look, to me, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup. I'm not really going to be getting overexcited. But now you've put it like that, Dan, it makes it sound a bit more applaudable to why I should probably be a bit more excited by it. But I mean, maybe it's just my opinion on maybe I'm just so old-fashioned with my opinions when it comes to this sort of thing, Dan, maybe. Because I always remember when we was in the UEFA Cup, I always said I would rather win the Champions League than the UEFA Cup.
Yeah, but mate, that's just fucking common sense.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put it, that's just common sense.
Obviously, I would prefer winning Champions League.
You know what I mean?
League,
I mean,
right?
like, seriously, Ryan, I don't know what you want me to say to you on that one, except no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, like I get that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we can only win on what we were in, and we are in.
Yeah.
If you want to really get technical, then the second biggest European Cup out there.
Yeah.
And still one that I guarantee I don't give a toss who says what out there. I bet you if Arsenal were in it, their fans would quite happily win it. Same as Chelsea went and quite happily won it. Same as Man U went and quite happily won it and everything else. Oh, what? So now all of a sudden that we win it, of all clubs in the world, let alone the Premier League, now almost have the audacity to sit here and say, yeah, well, but I prefer the Champions League.
Done.
Go on, Mike.
Come on, Ryan.
The amount of fucking copium I've heard from Arsenal fans trying to diminish the trophy, right?
Yeah.
You motherfuckers haven't won anything in Europe, right? And you have the audacity to talk about trophies in Europe, right? Like, sorry, but you have no right to talk about European trophies, right? You haven't won one. And no, I'm not counting, what you won earlier. So, or what did they win? A Cup Winners' Cup, right? I think. We have one too.
Yeah, I think that was 94. I think they won that.
Yeah, we have one too, by the way. So like, sorry, but this is such a shameful thing from them, right? Because if they were in a Europa League final, they would be, talking about this and bigging up the trophy and saying, "Oh, this is our route to Champions League, right? This is a springboard to give us money, and we finally broke the European curse and whatever, right?" But if we win it, then suddenly, like, they try to diminish the cup, and even their legend Wenger saying what he said before the final, right? That we shouldn't play in Champions League because we are 17th in the league. Who cares, mate? We won the cup.
Yeah. Innit? Shut the fuck up.
Don't listen to the bottlers.
I mean, just want to say big thanks for the super chat from Nick at Life JA. Chelsea used European League as a springboard for our Champions League win. Other teams seem to take it seriously. So why is it all of a sudden a Mickey Mouse Cup for us from Spurs supporters of all people? That one, even if we go and get a League Cup, it might not be the biggest cup out there, but we ain't won jack shit in 17 years. We've just won a European Cup. You cannot look on that and say that. It just makes no common sense on that one. Ian, how are we doing? Yeah. Go on then, Brian. Go on, finish what you're saying, mate.
Sorry, now, do you know what? Though, when it comes down to seeing that, though, yeah, right, it makes more sense. But I just think that when you compared it to the FA Cup, yeah, okay, it's not as big as the Europa League, but where I do agree with you, where I don't agree with, right, is that out of the League Cup or the FA Cup, that the FA Cup is just as small as the League Cup anymore. I don't believe that. I still always believe that the FA Cup is still bigger out of the two domestic cups competitions, personally. But that's just me.
Look, I'm just going to say before, sorry, but Dan, I'm going to need to start getting ready for the hospital. So I'm just going to, first of all, I just want to say a couple of things. And Stam has just said something so true. If you go up 2 comments, we all talk about the Liverpool 4-1 at Wembley as a sliding door moment where we failed to take advantage of the massive situation that we were in. Well, right now, we're back there, and it's how we do it. I will say, just in passing, I don't know if you can see it properly. Rest in peace, all those memes about Tottenham Hotspur not winning a trophy. I am going to get ready for the hospital. Dan, I'm going to see you later. I'm on Luke's show with you later.
Yep, I'll see you on there later. Hope everything goes good up the hospital, mate.
Cheers, brother. Michael, see you later. Psycho, Ryan, Lubo, much love to you, brother. I will speak to you all later. Come on, you Spurs.
Vamos,
See
Spurs.
that?
I mean, look, Ryan, last thing I'll say on this one, yeah, and I'll just put it as the way I see it. People know I ain't got the best ways of portraying things, but either way, you go out that night and you're out on the pool and you want to take somebody home with you and that, and you end up getting that pissed. It's only a 2-star when you're looking for a 10-star, but at the end of the day, you still managed to get what you wanted when you took it home. Yeah, okay, you might get up in the morning and look next to you and think, fuck, how did that happen? That's alcohol for you. But be happy with what you've got. You are, again, you are only a Spurs fan, mate. You just, as far as I'm concerned, nobody has a right here as a Tottenham fan to sit here and slate any cup if we bloody win it for our history sort of thing. So obviously I want to wake up next to a 10-star in that, but sometimes you take what you're given, and we can only win what we are in. So be happy with what you got, mate. Ian, how we doing?
Yeah, staying in there. I'll sleep well tonight. I've got to stay up now and just crash this evening.
That's pretty much what I've done.
Yeah. So just been out, bought all the newspapers. My son said, "Dad, we got to get all the papers." So that sort of thing. He wants to keep it forevermore now. So that's done. Just still buzzing, still on a high. Still don't know where I am. I'm so tired. But who cares? Just a magic day. Just brilliant. Just brilliant.
So what was it like actually there then? Seeing as you was actually there, I mean, I can imagine it was loud as an understatement.
Well, it's funny. We walked from talking about the match experience. We sort of left the fan zone about 5:30, 5:45. Remember, it's a 9:00 kickoff. We're following the crowd to the. It was a 15-minute walk to the grounds. About a mile away from the grounds, maybe a fraction under, there's a whole security. There's a line of police, and you got to show your ticket on your phone to go any further. So there's a wall of steel around. You just couldn't get anywhere near it if you didn't have a ticket. Get outside. The ground looked great. It looked really nice. It's a fairly new ground, 53,000.
It looked good on camera.
Yeah, no, it was lovely from the outside, and when we walked out, they had lit it up in white. Nice touch. It reminded me a bit of Bayern Munich's ground, with Bayern being the main tenant. You've got 1860 Munich there, and you got red, blue, and white lights behind the front of the grounds, so that when Bayern are there, they go red. When 1860 are there, they go blue. And white for everything else. And they lit it up coming out in white, got into the grounds. It was just a buzz. I mean, we were there. We must have been in the ground, I don't know, 6:30, 7:15. Well over 2 hours before kickoff. And it was just nice just to relax, take it all in. Ben came over, and Ben K came over and said hello. He was there with his dad in the next block. Ian Meth was at the end of our row with his missus. There was an old customer I hadn't seen for years. I had a nice catch up with who lives in southern Spain now, and it just built and built and built. And the atmosphere was just terrific. It was just superb. Spurs were in the ground earlier than the United fans. And the whole thing was just terrific. First half, I thought was fair. I thought we edged it. First half, we did enough. We got the goal. Second half, they came out and we just defended, and we defended bloody well. And all of them ran their hearts out. And as a fan, that's all you can ask for.
That is one thing that people have been screaming for a while, where there's just been no heart or passion on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is what I've been saying to people about why I think the league games have been dead, irrelevant, because they are. They shouldn't be. This is what I keep trying to say to people. Yeah, you should have this attitude. Players should have this attitude. There should be a lot of things in life. I should be able to leave. I keep saying it, my car door open without some prick jumping in it and trying to nick it. Not that it's not that easy to do these days, unless you've got your special key for it, but that's a different story. And I should be able to do that, but I can't. Simple as that. And the players' mentality in the league, you could blatantly see that they weren't with it, whether it was the B team, whether it was the A team, whether it was for whatever reason, they weren't going to give 110%. It's not going nowhere. You're 15th or you're 17th. What's it going to do for them? Whereas this game meant something to them. It meant something to the club. It meant something to us for whatever reason they've done it. But that is where you can tell the difference between players who I don't even think performed in a great football manner as such, looked excellent on the pitch, but you could see they gave their blood and guts basically make up for it, if you understand where I'm coming from. I mean, Rob, what do you think on that?
Can you hear me all right, Dan? First off, I'm having audio issues on every stream I go on at the minute.
Unfortunately, yes, mate. Of course I can, mate. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Go on.
Okay, Kushti. Yeah, it is one of them where why are we not doing this in the Premier League? Why is the manager not adapting in the Premier League? Why is he not dropping back in the Premier League, making substitutions in the Premier League? But after these type of games, you get very emotional. And at the minute, I don't care about the Premier League, if I'm 100% honest with you. It's one of them where it's been a horrific Premier League season, 21 losses. But in 10 years' time, I'm not going to remember when we lost 4-2 to Wolves and it was a disgrace. I'm not going to remember the 2 North London derby losses. I'm not going to remember the 4-0 against Liverpool. I'm going to remember last night. That's what the opposition fans are going to remember. And for me, last night means more than any top 4 finish. Anything in the Premier League other than winning the title could mean for us as a fan. Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating that obviously if we did do, adapt in the Premier League, if the players did give 110% in the Premier League, then we could have been higher up in the table. But even if they did, I don't think we'd be top. I don't think we'd be top 4 and probably maybe 6th or 7th. And what would that got us? Conference League, and maybe we pick up a few injuries and don't win the Europa League. For me, it's one of them where the Premier League's been such a write-off this season, but the Europa League's been fantastic. It's like watching 2 different teams. The Prem, you watch a manager who hasn't adapted. You watch players who look like they can't really give a monkeys. Then you watch the Europa League and the manager's switching up formations. He's dropping deep. The players are giving 110%. But last night was brilliant. If I can just go on for a second, Dan, I was at the stadium and the atmosphere outside Tottenham Stadium and beforehand and after, it was special. I've genuinely never seen anything like it. I've been there for big games and stuff, but the fact that there were no actual players on the pitch and it screens, but the whole place was just, it was mad. It really was. And that's football, man. I mean, you take the rough with the smooth as a football fan, but we've not had much smooth recently. And to be there last night and just that almost sigh of relief, but also joy when that full time whistle went, it's like, we've actually done it. And it took a few minutes to sink. It's like, we've actually done it. And I'm almost like sat there. I know I'm only 17, but I'm sat there like a proud dad, almost watching like every fan on the pitch. I'm looking at the players. I'm lifting the trophy as well on the screen. It's like it still probably hasn't sunk in yet. It was just so special. I was there with my dad and granddad as well. My granddad's been struggling with health for years. I never thought he'd be able to see the stage and let alone watch us lift the trophy. So it's one of them where the Premier League hasn't been good at all. Ange hasn't done a great job, but he's also given me, my family, and thousands of other Spurs fans a memory that will never be forgot. Whereas the 4-2 against Wolves, the 21 losses, I mean, they're escaping my mind now. I've forgotten probably 15, 16 of them losses. So, yeah, it's just a special night, really.
Dan, you're on mute, mate.
You're muted, Dan.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You're right on what you're saying, Rob. The first thing that's going to happen when any logical Spurs fan, I know we're going to have a few that think otherwise, but going to sit there and say, 24-25 season, that's the one we've done the Europa Cup, innit? And then maybe you might think afterwards, fucking terrible season we had, but anyway, bollocks, we won the cup, and that's all that's going to matter at the end of the day. But things can't go on like this. So I'm going to take it a slightly different way then. Is everybody here happy with what we got?
In terms of what? Winning the trophy?
Yes or no? Yeah. Easy yes or no off everyone. Is everybody happy?
Yeah, I think everyone's happy, aren't we?
Yeah? Is everybody happy? We agree with that? Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the way I'll change this, are you all now satisfied? Or do you want more?
We all want more,
Well, that's
especially in
It's
the
giving
league.
me a taste
that's the
for
thing,
it.
Dan. That's the thing about human nature, isn't it?
Because I'm not satisfied. I'm happy, but I ain't satisfied. I want more.
But everybody wants more, don't they?
Of course. Call it greedy, call it what you want. But are Liverpool happy? Like, I was speaking to my mate on the phone. He was happy he won the league and that, but he was pissed off he didn't win the Champions League and he wants more. So we want more. I would presume any normal Spurs fans would want more of this now, yeah? So where we got to go from here to take this, that we can actually give a competition in the league? Yeah, under league, are we going to beat Liverpool, Man City, whoever? No, we're not. But we obviously want to be better than 17th. And we obviously don't want to wait another 17 years before we win the trophy. So, with winning the trophy, I'm happy. I'm over the moon for it, pigging shit, whatever you want to call it. But I ain't satisfied now. I want more. Where have Spurs now got to take this? Where has the club got to go? Where has Levy, Ange, whoever, whatever one you want to say, where has this club got to go now to be more consistent? Now, I know we're not going to win a bloody cup every year, this and that, but at least make it a bit more consistent that we have a chance every 3 years as such, 2 years, 4 years, whatever people want to put it on, to actually get some consistency in actually winning something. Where do we go now? Whoever wants to go.
I think.
Please.
Oh, so right. First of all, I think Levy needs to get rid of Ange first, because personally, I want to be challenging, not actually winning every year, like you said, Dan, but challenging every single year in all competitions. I want to be challenging on all fronts every year, even if we don't win. At least if we're challenging and being competitive, I want to be challenging every year for every cup competition and every league place. That's what I'm wanting, and that's down to Levy. So Levy either needs to do one or two things. First of all, he gets rid of Ange, then he puts more money in to the club, or he has to sell up. Simple as.
No, first of all, Ryan, Levy has to decide whether he's interested in taking this football side forward before anything else. Before anything. If he's not, let him sell and just go. If he put as much effort into the football side as he does the non-footballing side, you've got to wonder how many trophies.
Yeah, but Ian, before you go that far, I don't want to go into Levy's bit in that aspect. We know Levy's a prick. We know we can have a phone call and I'll say, see you next Thursday or Tuesday. I really don't care. The point I'm getting at is here, what do we have to do as a club now?
Yeah, but
what is needed?
Will Ange stay in the club next season, for instance?
I don't think they sack him now. To be fair, I've said it like 2 months ago, right? That if we win this cup, the club cannot sack him just for the PR sake, right? Of it. If you look at it, if you look at that decision purely from like the point of view of the club, right? The club has gotten as much.
But in 2008, we won the cup, and then Juan de Ramos was sacked 4 months during the league.
But a bit of time down after, right? I'm talking now, right? They cannot sack him today or tomorrow or in 2 days, right? Because this club, rightfully so, and this ownership has gotten so much shit from the fan base, right? The biggest protest we ever had, right? The biggest part of the fan base, it wasn't big, right? But it was the biggest so far part of the fan base, put it on the ownership that they are failing, right? So and the protest, main aim of the protest is to get this club on a path of winning trophies, right? So if we win a trophy, then they can't really sack the manager who won the trophy, right? Who finally broke the curse, because in the fans' eyesight, it will look like they just fucked off the person that gave them joy, right? So for me, right now they cannot sack him. Like 3-4 months later, if he performs poorly in the league next season, right? Definitely. That's why I also said if we win the league, the only scenario where I don't see Ange being the manager is if he walks himself, right? If they have an agreement with the club and he walks himself, right? But to your question, Dan, right? And I think that Lubo started on a great point, right? Because as much as, like you said, what the club has to do now to repeat the joy that we had yesterday, right, and the joy we have today, I think it is in Daniel Levy's hands, right? Because as much as he gets like so much shit, deservedly so, right? He right now has the opportunity to, not write everything off that has happened, because he never will do that, right? It's 20 over years of failure, right? So he will always have that asterisk next to his surname, right? But right now, if he, whether it's Ange or a different manager, goes into the summer and says, listen, I was there in Bilbao, right? He was the one giving medals, right? I loved the feeling. I want more, right? He goes, invests, like brings in 3-4 players, right? Actually allows us to be competitive, right? He can kind of make up for the failure, right? He can put us on the right path, right? So for me, it's up to him, right? Because if he decides to do the usual Daniel Levy thing, which is basically doing nothing, right? Then this club won't like set itself on a path of winning trophies, right? But he can like make steps today, tomorrow, to set this club on that course, right? For me, signing Fabio Paratici back is one thing, right? Signing, whether he changes the manager or not, that's a different thing, right? Like allowing the club to spend the money in different ways than so far. It's also like, sorry, Lord Rodney Trotter. Why is it delusional? Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that he can do that, right? Like, whether he will, that's a different thing.
The question is what we need to do, wasn't it? Yeah. That was the question. Will he or won't he do it? I mean, Ian, the only reason I jumped in on what you were saying is because you started going down the route of what Levy has done over the years. I don't give a fuck. At this moment in time, I could not give a monkey's, yeah? I'm asking, we can't change the past. No, we can't change that. We can't change what he's done, whatever else. The only other thing you can do with the past is sometimes you can make up a bit for it, but you ain't ever going to change it. You said the wrong thing at the wrong time or done the wrong thing at the wrong time. You can make up for it, but you're still never going to change it. It happened. This is where I'm saying, where have we got to go now? And it's not about changing it to a bloody negative side or whatever else. I'm enjoying the day. I'm happy we've won and everything else. But then surely we're now looking like, right, we've now won ourselves something. What have we now got to do to go further? This is why I asked, are people happy? And then are they satisfied? Because if people are satisfied, then it's basically just sit back and be happy with what we got and let it go the way it is. Sure. I'm not satisfied. I want more. So like I was saying, where have we got to go? Go on in.
Yeah, your initial, the first question you asked, we've got the parade tomorrow. You got Brighton on Sunday, end of the season, and then they'll all sit down and review the season. And the question is, where do we go from here? Who takes the club forward? We've won a European trophy. Let's build from here. Can Ange take us forward? That's the question. That's the very first question. If people think he can, if the club thinks he can, then they've got to sit down with him when he gets back from his holiday and say, right, who are the players you want? How are we gonna take this forward next season? How are we gonna have a successful run? I'm not saying obviously not saying we're going to win the Champions League. How do we have a run deep into the competition? More importantly, how do we challenge in the league? How does this become a strong? How do we become a strong squad that can challenge domestically? I said months ago that we saw in the transfer window we bought 4 kids and Solanke. So the first team, first 11. Wasn't tremendously improved from last season. We kept virtually everybody else who were first half.
One player. Solanke, basically, what it is, just one player.
And then you look at Solanke and Richie, and you say, well, is there such a big improvement? So you're looking at pretty much the same. You've got some good kids that are going to come through. Bergvall has come through. Graham Moore, I think you will see come through within the next 12 to 24 months. Exciting with Vuskovic joining next season. You know, he's had 2 seasons in. It's
another kid though. What is he? 17?
No, but Houston,
I don't want to rely on 17-year-olds.
No, but if I think he's 18, Dan. But if he's another Dean Houston from Brighton, who's ended up at Real Madrid, then I'll be delighted.
I can understand what you're saying, but if we want to go forward, surely we need players on that pitch that are for now, not tomorrow, not for 2 years' time.
No. We got all the kids we need. We got an abundance of really good, talented kids waiting to come through. So there's no shortage. You've got Luca Williams-Barnett, who will probably be knocking around the first team door, maybe just a handful of games next season, being in the squad, coming on a sub possibly. There's no shortage of kids. We need 3 or 4 top established players now because we've got an okay team. We haven't got anybody special. We've got no one who's going to light the place up, and that's what we need now. We need leaders. More important, you know, you need people to come in and get a grip of things. I thought yesterday, you know, you talk about yesterday was a big game day, and Romero came through. I don't think he'll be at the club next season. And you need characters like Romero who are playing consistently at a high level as your leader. That's what we need.
But he doesn't play consistently. That is the problem with
Romero.
That's
the problem. That's he's played 23 games out of 54, I think, this season. And he's in out. You know, he had a run of a few games at the beginning of the season. Then he was injured, wasn't he, against Man City? Came back up against Chelsea. Then he was out for another 3 months. So, you know, just hard to get into your rhythm. Didn't start the season well. He was giving away goals. But I think we saw yesterday that he is, for me, just a phenomenal defender.
On his day, yes.
On his day, that's right.
The question is more, where do we need to go?
Where do we go?
How have we got to take this now?
We need a 6, and we probably need a front line. And we need those 4 players. And we need good players. We need good players who are going to come in and are going to perform. And that's where the club's got to go to. And in order to buy those players, Levy's got to look at the wage cap. He's got to look at bringing in players. No, I'm not going to the game in Hong Kong. But I will be in Italy hopefully for the Super Cup in August 13th. That for me, that's where he starts. He's got to look at who's going, how he's going to raise funds, what the budget is, plus the budget for players for money coming in. Then he's got to look at the wage bill, and at that stage, for which manager, because that's key. Because players want to know who's going to be manager when they start in August. So they've got a lot of very big decisions coming up in the next 2 weeks. It's a massive fortnight for Spurs.
I mean, massive. Ian, would you say? I mean, for me, the game yesterday was bigger than the Champions League game, but for different reasons. To an extent, it was the after effects of the cup, that were even more important than the cup. I mean, obviously, we want that cup for that cabinet. I think everyone gets where I'm going with this, but it was the after effects that if we did not get that, we was fucked.
I think it was the same. I think that.
So is it the same? The question I'm getting to is, are we now basically on the same stage of what we were after that Champions League game? Yeah. Or is this a total different situation?
They were both really important for different reasons, Dan. I think one, you're elevated. If you win the Champions League as a club, you're elevated these days. If Spurs won the Champions League in 2019, we're not going to be on the same level as I say the big eight who have won many, have won European trophies and league championships on a regular basis. You got United and Liverpool, who are the two biggest. You've got the two Milan clubs and Juventus. You've got Real Madrid, Barcelona. You've got Ajax. You've got Bayern Munich, and you've got Benfica. They're your Big Ten. They are the Big Ten that have been around for a long time. They are elite clubs.
But Ian, a couple of the ones you've mentioned there, I think you're talking on history.
Yeah,
AC Milan are no elite club anymore. They can't attract with their name anymore because they've been shit for 20 years. Yes, they've won a trophy, but they cannot attract with their name anymore like certain clubs can. They're out of it.
I think their name still carries a lot of weight, Dan.
No, nothing to what
they're like the Italian Man United, aren't they?
Exactly that. Except they've gone further down than Man U have because they've been going down the record for a long time. I mean, so for me, this game was make or break for Spurs as a club, not just a trophy, but
that's right. In terms of the next year, you think about it. If we'd have lost last night, you've got United going in with 5 other clubs. So you've got 6 clubs there that are all going to get big money, going to pull away from Spurs. The chances are, chances of bringing in better players diminishes greatly. Less money for transfers generally. No wage increase, wage cap increases. It was massive. It was massive. And you look at it and you think to yourself, then what sort of manager's going to want to come and join us? Thank God we didn't have that. So yesterday was massive in terms of winning. It was just enormous for the club. It really was. And it was. Winning the Champions League would have been a massive positive. That was everything about that was being positive. Winning last night was about avoiding the negative. So
I can go with that.
Yeah,
I can go with that. Just to say it's a test case. I mean, I don't know how I'm reading this, if I'm taking it right, what you're saying, but the greedy, defaced attitude of some Spurs fans are the biggest liability. It bleeds into the players who are battle enough. Thanks. That's why no matter what you change, problems will remain. Well, you're going to have to leave me another message so I can actually get your point. I mean, am I now being greedy by saying I'm not satisfied?
You're not saying you're unhappy, are you?
Yeah, I'm happy with what I've got, but sorry, I don't like to do it once a month. I like to get a bit more than that, if you understand where I'm coming from. Am I now greedy? I mean, if you're satisfied at getting it once a month, once every 3 months, whatever, then that's up to you. I'm not. So call me greedy then, but I want to be satisfied. I want more now. We've won something. I'm not going to just sit back and say, well, we've won something. I'll keep my mouth shut for the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, and that until we win something again. Maybe I've misunderstood what you've said there, but
I think, Dan,
how can you even call a Spurs fan bloody greedy when we hadn't won anything for fucking 17 years? Or am I just misunderstanding what the man has said?
No. I think how I'd answer Tessike is go and learn the history of the club if you don't know it already. Then you'll have an idea and just look at the way the fans were yesterday. This is a club ready to take off. I mean, I spoke to my pal about an hour ago who was at the grounds at Spurs last night. It was fantastic. It was just great, and the fans deserve so much more. Learn your history, then you'll understand why what's gone on over the last 25 years has happened. Why people like myself and Brian and Stel and a lot of the boys here are really pissed off with the way the direction the club's been taken, and why we feel we should be winning trophies. I'm not saying we're going to win 19 trophies in 20 years like Chelsea did under Abramovich, or City have won God knows how many since Sheikh Mansour took over 17 years ago. But you'll understand a lot more how Spurs fans think if you know your history.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So, Angus, I'll come to you in a minute. Rob, where do we go from here? What have we got to do?
I think we've got to use it as a stepping stone now into the Champions League. We've qualified for the competition. Now let's build a squad to actually compete with the teams here, teams of that level, teams at the top of the table. I think whether Ange stays or Ange goes, I think there's someone we need to invest in, top quality talent. My problem last summer, it wasn't that we were signing the youngsters. It was that apart from Solanke, we were just signing the youngsters. So I'm all right with bringing in a few kids if they can develop into good players for the future. But I also want players that are now at the same time as that. So I don't have a problem if we bring in some more youngsters this summer.
We should be doing both, not one or the other, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And go out there and sign some experience, though. Maybe someone mid-20s, late 20s who can come in, solid, proven player and do a job in a certain position. I think certain players, we've got to move on. Brutally, I think Sonny, I don't want him starting next season. I keep him going to be on the bench, but I think now he's got his legacy at Spurs. He's won that trophy. He's been a great servant. And I think most of us can see that he's on the decline. I don't want to remember him as, a bit of a crap player who keeps turning his back to, I want to remember him as the player he's been for most of the time. So I think go out there and maybe sign a top quality winger. Go out there and sign a top quality midfielder. Build a team now that can compete with the teams in the Champions League, that can compete with the teams in the Premier League. If you've still got Ange and he's not doing that by November, then get rid of him. If you haven't got Ange, give the new man at least one season and then see what happens after. But I think we've won that Europa League now. For the next few weeks, I'll be satisfied. But then you'll start to hear rumours of who we're linked to, start thinking about next season already because there's no summer tournament. And then for me, it's like, right, we're in the Champions League now. Now, I care more about the trophy itself than the qualification you get from it for the Champions League. But now we're in the Champions League. Let's not just be happy to be there. Just get back week in, week out. Let's build a squad that can compete. And then if we build a squad that can compete with good players in there and we're not in Ange's there, then that's all down to the manager. But for me, it's about using what we had yesterday as that stepping stone to the next level. Because if, like you said, Dan, if we lost yesterday, what sort of managers are we attracting? If Ange goes, we probably have some.
What sort of players? What sort of money?
We'd probably have someone like a Scott Parker. But now I'm looking at like a lot of people say Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, Iraola. Why would they join Spurs if we didn't win that Europa League? None of them would. It's a step down. Whereas now, surely one of them might be looking for a challenge, might want to move on to a club in the Champions League that's just won a trophy. So it gives you more options to build. And I think it as fans, the club, the players and stuff should enjoy it because trophies don't come around very often. I haven't even seen one before yesterday. But then start looking on how we can build on it. It's almost like having a nice starter, a bit of calamari. Right, that was lovely. Now I want the main. Now I want the sea bass. Now I want the steak over there. I want to tuck into the main course, see what we can do with that. So that's what I'd say. Use it as a stepping stone to sort of kick on.
I mean, with that one, I'm totally with you. Angus, hello, mate. How we doing? Arsenal fan, I don't mind having on here. Down to earth. I say
last night was painful.
I say down to earth. You probably feel like you're underground at the moment. Good.
Yeah, I feel like I've been hit with the Undertaker, basically. He's just tombstoned me. That's what I feel like, honestly. Oh, God. Last night was painful, I can't lie. Last night was painful. But fair play to you. You fully deserved it. 100% at the end of the day. You wanted it more than Man United. You've done it. Congratulations.
No, thanks. And that's appreciated. And for an Arsenal fan to be able to come here and say that, fair play to you. There's not many that would be able to do that without being physically sick. I know I would struggle.
I think Angus is physically sick.
I mean, but I would even though I would still be physically sick, I would still be managing to say it. There would just be a lot of. It would be a mess. Let's just put it that way. I mean, the question I'm going to put down, yeah, and I know some people don't want to hear it and whatever, but for me, time waits for no man. I've got a lot of tattoos. I mean, you probably can't see it clearly on there, but it's one thing I've got written on that one. Time waits for no man. It's an attitude I've always had. You can sit there and wait all you want, and time ain't fucking waiting for you. And this is where I mean, where do we go now? And then it goes to the next bit. This is going to be the biggest in the next couple of days. Now, I'm not saying we talk negative about it, whatever. I'm just talking about where do we go? And this is, whether we like it or not, this is going to be part of it. I think this win is also going to divide this fan base even more in a lot of ways. In the aspect of, I'm just going to ask it, what the fuck do we do with Ange now? What do we actually do? I mean, saying what the club has got to do and everything else, and we know what Levy's got to do. What the fuck do we do with this fella now? with everything,
I don't think you're going to
that he
sack
has
him.
totally
I don't think you're going to
destroyed
sack him.
us- Hang on a sec. With everything
So.
that he's still got a stacked cup. I'm not one who lives on morals, but I know there is so many people out there who are asking it but don't want to see it and seem negative or whatever. I'm not being negative. I'm giving the man all the credit he deserves. I couldn't have bigged him up yesterday enough. And I've said he deserves every bit of credit he gets, along with the players. And even Levy's got to get credit for it as well, like it or lump it. You can't just tell the fella when he's doing bad all the time and not give him a tap on the back for when he's doing good. Same as you can't just like blow sunshine up their ass when they're good and ignore it when they're bad. It's got to work both ways. What the hell do we do with this fella now? Go for it.
I'm afraid it happens the same as it did, in 2008. When the Rams won the league, the cup, the English League Cup, and after a few months, not a dreadful run in the Premier League, he was sacked. But at the same time, he lost complete that season. It was a wasted season because waiting until we've got bad results, such as we've had this season, is complicated, right? So everything at Tottenham has been surreal. So who knows? Ange can be sacked, in the following days. I don't know, because of the league, the results of the league,
Yes.
the performance in the league. Who knows? Hopefully.
I think it's slightly different to when Ramos won the League Cup. Got to the end of the season. I think we finished mid-table. Memory serves me correctly. And at the end of during the summer, he sold Berbatov at a minute to 12 before the end of the transfer window. And we ended up with Fraser Campbell as our main striker. And Harry had to come in. I think Harry brought in Defoe.
That's right.
And one or two others. And we were in trouble. So Levy left Ramos up Shet Creek without a paddle. And, you ended up with 2 draws and 6 defeats from the first 8 games. So I don't think it's quite the same. Not sure it's quite the same because, we haven't got the main man like we had in Berbatov, who was just superb that season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a sliding doors moment. The club have got a really big opportunity to kick on. Will Levy take it? If he doesn't take it, I think he's just got to say, well, I've taken the club as far as I can. I have no real interest in building the football side. I'm going to hand it over to someone who does. Take his profit. It's going to be a massive profit. Good luck to the guy. Never have any problem with people being successful, making money. He's used the club as a platform to get rich, but he's got to make his mind up. If he's interested in the football, then he's got to sit down with everybody and say, right, we're going to do it. We do it properly. And this is how we do it. Yeah.
I think what Sam wrote was basically also what I was trying to say a couple of minutes ago. Like, sorry guys if I don't make much sense, but I am still a bit hangover, right? And
Don't worry, I'm on the same boat, mate. I'm on the same
You're not
boat.
the only one, Michael.
Everyone.
I have to say it, right? As the more alcohol I get in me, the less my English skill, So it's like, I would like to remind everyone it's not my native language, right? And I'm not going to speak in Polish because, you poor souls won't understand the words, right? But basically what Sam has said, right? That I think the only way Ange leaves now is by mutual agreement, right? If they somehow come to a conclusion with him, right, that, listen, Ange, thank you for the trophy, but we'll do it on the mutual agreement terms, right? Because as I said, if they sack him, like literally just, give him leaving notice, right? And just, sorry, Ange, you are not welcome anymore. It's an enormous PR hit to the club, right? They won't survive this with this fan base, right? Still, after like 21 defeats, we had half the fan base or more being Ange, right? Now he won us a trophy, and now we want to sack him, right? That won't go with the fan base. So for me, it's only a mutual agreement thing. I still think that, listen, big up for the trophy, but on overall managerial performance over 2 years, for me, he hasn't done a great job. Other than those few matches in Europa League, in the league we've been absolutely dreadful, and I don't have faith that he will do much better in the league, right? Because like obviously he can do worse in the league next season if he's the manager, because we will get fucking relegated, right? But so I guess he will do better if he finishes 13th or something, right? That's better, but that's not good enough for me. So for me, that's the best course of action in my opinion. But yeah, that's it with Ange, right? But it's such a like weird place to be in as a fan and as a club, and overall, like as the entirety of Spurs, right? It's such a weird place to be, where we just had the worst season in the Premier League ever, or worst season in English top flight ever, right? Yet we've somehow fucking won a European trophy. So you have this like weird conundrum of the most joy we've had in like 20 years and the most sorrow we had over the last year, right? Just fucking being depressed and wanting to off ourselves after every single match, right? And now we've witnessed like the biggest joy that we could have witnessed, pretty much, right? So it's such a weird place to be in.
And the fan base has never been so split as this season, right? Because Ange in, Ange out, inverted fullbacks, etc. It's been crazy, yeah. But you cannot forget that complete different situations. But Tottenham Hotspur second, José Mourinho, the winner of cups a week before a final. So everything can happen at Tottenham.
I mean, Bob, what do you think on it? Like, what have we got to do with Ange now? What do you think is the best thing for the club? Now, again, this is where some say I might sound harsh. I just try and be realistic on it. I'm sorry, I don't live on morals and sympathy and empathy when it comes to stuff like that. For me, a business is a dog-eat-dog world, and you want to get to the top, you have to eat that other dog before it eats you. And I've seen many another club. I mean, I know we're no Real Madrid, but would Real Madrid accept a Champions League, a cup, and finish 6th in the league? Nope. Would Chelsea accept a Europa and the 17th? Would Man U? Well, Man U were in that situation. They got fuck all, but at least their manager's only got 3 months on his head. Would Liverpool accept it? Would Man City accept it? So Rob, where do you think, where we got to go with Ange? Do we give him this extra chance now that he has shown he can adapt, even though we're sitting here saying, why the hell didn't he do it in the league? But he obviously can, because he has now. And he's won us a cup. So do we give him that? Go on then. Let's see what you can give us the next season, or at least 6 months of it, which could, in my eyes, be the same mistake of what Man U make with Ten Hag, because then the money that gets spent on him and everything else. Where do we go?
You have an honest conversation with him, and I think he would be honest. You say to Ange, you played 2 different styles, one for the league, one for Europe. One fell pitifully, the other one was very successful. What are your plans for next season? And I think once you've had that conversation, if he's just going to carry on playing the way he plays, then we will end up in relegation trouble. And Levy will pull the plug long before you get to May. I don't know.
I mean, Rob, where do we go, mate? Where do we go? What have we got to do? Do we hang on to this man out of morals and pride, or whatever you want to call it?
It's a minefield.
Do we actually? It is.
Because he's actually won us a trophy, and then the first manager to win us a trophy is like 2007. You sack him after, but I think just watching a majority of what's happened the last couple of seasons, I still want him gone. I've been saying most of the season, even if we win a trophy, I still want him gone. It just changes to thanks for the memories, Ange, but see you later instead of fourth Ange. But I think we will keep him. I don't think the club will sack him, because I think the amount of people who probably want him in want to give him a chance next season will outweigh those who still want him out, in honesty. And I don't sympathise with Daniel Levy, but whatever choice he makes here, I mean, people are going to go mad at him. So I think we should sack him still, because I I don't think he'll be able to really do anything in the Champions League. I see him struggling. I mean, he struggled to juggle the Premier League and Europa League, let alone the Premier League and the Champions League. He's shown that he can adapt,
We
but
definitely need the
hasn't done it
improvement for that, don't we? Like the bigger team
Yeah.
for the Champions League. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I just think in the Champions League, Ange has done his job, in my opinion, over 2 years. Not brilliantly, but technically successfully. Because first season he's got into the Europa League. Second season he's won the competition and got us into the Champions League. But I think it's one of them situations where I don't know if he can go up to that next level. He's gone up a couple of levels, but I don't think he'd be the right man to get us far in the Champions League or get us competing at the top of the table, because I just don't think his tactics work in the Premier League. He doesn't want to adapt in the Premier League for some reason. What's changed with me though, right? Before the final, I thought if we win it, sack him. He's an absolute joke of a manager. If we lose it, sack him. He's a joke of a manager. Now we've won it, still sack him. But if we do keep him, I'm not going to be ranting like man over every video like I would have done if we lost, because you can kind of understand the argument of he's done his job. As much as the 21 losses were disgusting, he's won the trophy that he qualified for the season before and got us into the Champions League. So it's such a minefield. It really is. I don't like him. I don't think he's done a good enough job overall, but he's technically been successful. So I think we keep him, and I think it'll be a Ten Hag situation where we'll struggle to juggle both competitions. I think Levy will back him a bit, but not enough to the point where EPA. I don't think his system works in the Premier League unless he's got the best players. So I think Levy will back him a bit, but not to the point where he can really compete. And I think he's gone November, December time, very similar to Ten Hag last season.
So that would basically
But I
destroy
choose
our
to
next
sack him.
season as well, basically. There's a chance that,
Yeah,
that
which
would
is
ruin
why
our
I-
next season.
I choose to sack him in the Champions League. Now go out there, get Champions League quality. Go out there, get a Champions League quality manager, and try and compete with the Premier League, Champions League, and move front with a better squad, more rounded, with a manager who is better than Ange. So that's what I do. But I don't see the club sacking him. Just outside the stadium even yesterday, everyone singing his name. I mean, it shows how fickle football fans are. Everyone screaming about him the other week. The whole ground and everyone outside is singing Ange Postecoglou's name. And I just think Levy's got to see that. He's got to see that in Bilbao. And I don't think he'll be sacked.
Yeah, Rob, to quickly like piggyback off your argument, right? Like I agree with you that in essence, Ange has actually delivered the target, right? Because I personally think that the target for last season was to get into some form of European competition, right? After that 8th place that we finished, right? And then the target for this season was most likely to try and get, to Europa League or Champions League, right? So technically he has done that. He has achieved the target, right? But like through the back door, let's call it, right? Because Levy would probably want us to be higher up in the league and qualify through the league, right? Because that gives him more money through the, the league prize money and all
The
that
overall
stuff, right?
and everything.
Yeah, the overall, right? But he has done it. But next season, there won't be that door open, right? Because let's be honest, no matter what happens, I think I can 99.999 and however many nines you want to put in a row, we are not winning the Champions League, right? So he doesn't have the backdoor alley to cheat. Let's call it cheat the target, right? So when I look at this season and how much we struggled, and I don't see much room for improvement with his style of play and approach for next season. If we finish next season 13th and without a European trophy, right, without a backdoor, alley, way to European competition, then he deserves to be sacked next season, right? Unless he wins the FA Cup and gets us into Europa League, right? But it's as you said, it's such a minefield, right? Because as much as I was also in the same camp as you said, right? Before the final, I was like, if he loses the final, obviously sack him, right? No point in discussing, right? If he wins the final, I would like to see him go, right? But right now, after the final, I'm like, I want to see him go because I don't trust him, right? But if he was kept, I'm like, I understand why the club keeps him for next season, right? I think he overall, by winning a trophy and getting us into Champions League, by a really fucked up way, he deserves kind of to keep his job. It's such a weird thing to say, right? Because like I don't believe that, right? As I said, I don't believe him. I don't believe that he will, improve massively and get us, fourth place and into the semi of the Champions League. I don't think that happens, right? But I guess he kind of deserves a chance for winning us a trophy, right?
It'll probably get us relegated and win the Champions League.
Probably, right? Can you fucking imagine?
Don't even go there, yeah.
Can you fucking imagine if we were in the Championship and playing Champions League?
I wouldn't rule it out. He's going to finish 17th this season.
46 games in the Championship and the Champions League on top of that.
It's just don't even players
to handle that.
Don't even go there, because again, if anyone would pull that off, that would be a Spurs thing. I mean, my opinion on it. I mean, personal opinion. I think he's done what he said he's going to do, and fair play to him. He deserves all the credit he gets for the trophy. Same as the players, same as Levy. They all deserve him. They all deserve that bit of credit. But this is where, purely opinionated, nothing more. Maybe I'm just a bit more ruthless than some. Maybe others are more ruthless than me, or kind of whatever way you want to put it. I keep using that phrase. It's dog eat dog. And I don't think he's quite the manager to take us the next further in the league. Because I'm sorry, I'm not willing to be satisfied with 12th place, 17th place, and getting a cup every 2-3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, till the next one. I want to be competing for every competition. Now, I get if you've got the small team, whatever, it's a lot harder to do it and everything else. I get all that, yeah. But we're the 7th biggest club in the fucking world when it comes to money. Yeah. We've now won the Champions League. We're now going to have other managers as such interested in us that possibly wouldn't have been interested in us. Same as you're going to have other players with it. This is where you got to think: do you do it as a business, or do you do it through your morals? Personally, I just don't think he's got what we need for that league. Could he get us another cup next season? Why not? I don't see why not. I said it at the start of this season. I think the way he plays, you can win a cup with it. I mean, look how England got to semi-finals and finals when they definitely didn't deserve it. But I just don't think he's got what we need to get us in the league as well. And I can't see why we can't be asking for both. Obviously, we're not going to win the league, but surely we can ask to be competitive in the league and also win a trophy.
Yeah.
So, or has it got to be one or the other because we are Tottenham Hotspur? Has it got to be a youth player, or has it got to be an experienced player? Why can't we fucking have both? I mean, I don't know what you think. What's your opinion on my attitude with that? Sounds a bit harsh, maybe, I know, but I just say it how I see it.
Again, comes back to the same question, doesn't it? Can he take the club forward? If he can't, I wasn't asleep, guys. I was actually having a look at my phone. Sorry.
It looked like it as well, mate.
Yeah. That's the only question. How's he going to play next season? You know, we've seen two very contrasting styles. The league's been absolutely crashed. The cup's been fantastic. How does he see the future? Who are the players he wants? I mean, there's some really important conversations they've got to have, unless the die's cast and they've already decided so. And that, once we know, then away you go. You know where you're going. Do we get another manager? I'm sure they would have spoken to other managers by now. Mm-hmm. So everything's bubbling at the moment.
I mean, surely there was a plan there already for if we win and if we don't win. I mean, he's made it quite clear he wants to stay. I mean, like Aussie Ange, what you're saying is people talk about the drop in the league form, but let's be real. No manager could have thrived with the historic injury crisis we faced this season. At one point, almost the entire 11 was out. Now, the bit I will go with you on, no, I'll back him halfway here on this one, yeah, is no one would have thrived with it. That bit I'll go with. But this is where you need a manager who will adapt to his situation and play with the cards he's got, like he did last night. He played with the cards he had last night. and that is what you got to do. Yet we don't see that in the league. I am not satisfied in the aspect of I am willing to take 17th and a cup every couple of years or whatever and that. I want us to be competing in everything we single can. And I just don't think Ange has quite got that capability to do it for us in the league. Next season, would I be surprised if we finished 12th or 13th and won a League Cup? No. I'll be happy we won a League Cup. But I'm sorry, I'm not willing to be just be a mid-table team. I'm not willing to give that up for it. But then we want the trophies as well. I know you can't always have the best of both worlds, but surely we can at least fight for them. I mean, it is a tricky one when it comes down to it at the end of the day. Do we keep him? Don't we keep him? Why don't we keep him? Why do we keep him? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we've won a cup. I think everybody's happy with that one and could be happy for the next few days. And Sunday, pretty much game's irrelevant to me. It's season's finished. It's done. We've got our Europa Cup. We're in the Champions League. I think we're just at that point where it's take it from there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting times.
I gotta go, boys.
You podcast guys are going to have an interesting summer.
Yes, it is going to be. Right, well, I'm going to call it quits there because I've got to do a show tonight and to tell the truth, I'm going to be fucking lazy and I want to go to bed for a couple of hours because I'm still half knackered. I'm still half knackered from last night. I must admit that bottle of Southern Comfort, it hurt. It does damage. But anyway, thanks for everyone coming on. Thanks, Brian, earlier, Mike, Teacher, Ryan, Angus. Do you know what, Angus? Sorry, before we go, I'll ask you the quick question, yeah? Since you've sat in there and kept it quiet on there, where have you got to go now? Since you've given us your opinion on Spurs, you've said thanks. Where is your opinion now?
I'm sacked my manager. I want him gone. But he should have left 3 years ago. That's it. And then half my fan base love him, half my fan base hate him. So, like, I don't know what to do. We're kind of like a situation you are, but in a worse situation kind of thing. Because if we keep him, it's going to turn into Arsene Wenger 2.0, where the fighting is going to start in the stands again. And it's already started.
No, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, the fact that we've won this, I mean, that just... I mean, yeah, that must make you feel physically sick at the end of the day. 17.
Yes, I wanted to be sick last night. Honestly. When Johnson scored that goal, I was like, oh, God, no, please don't. Man United had one job. Honestly, it was gut-wrenching. But fair play to you, you still deserved it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Arsenal fans about today, and they all look like they're out of Shaun of the Dead, and their heads down, just sort of moping around, trying to stay away, cap over their head, avoiding everything and everyone. So fair play, Angus. I mean, you come on into a panic for the Spurs fans.
Like I said to you, I hold my hands up. I'm shocked you won it, to be fair, especially with Ange's manager, but fair play to you. You deserved it.
Well, there we go. We did on that one at the end of the day, and yeah, I must admit, I won't deny it. There's nothing more fun at the end of winning something than being able to rub it in an Arsenal fan's face. I won't deny that. Otherwise, I'll be lying. But
yeah, and I'm thinking, if we won the Champions League as well, I'd do the same. If we won the Champions League, I would have done the same to you.
I wouldn't expect nothing different. You know,
we don't have to worry about that friendly, though, Angus.
Yeah, because that's not going to happen anytime soon anyway. That's not going to happen anyway. Anyway, look, I've got to leave it at that because I'm absolutely knackered. Thanks for everyone coming on. If people in chat, thanks for watching. Give us a quick like and subscribe. Does help. Everybody, have a good day and come on.
I'm gonna turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.